Richard Gere goes to the Mustache Party nightclub.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, probe.
Do you remember when we were watching the scene and he walks down those stairs and he sees all those leather daddies and there's the one guy taking his shirt off and I just go, yes! Well, hello there. Welcome to On the Beat, the podcast that uncovers full-frontal male nudity in cinema. My name is Laura, and I am joined by my stupendous, tremendous, breathtaking co-host, Ryan.
Hey there, pretty lady.
Oh,
Sexy lady.
that is so nice of you.
Yeah. Does that fly now? Like, can a guy just walk up to, say, like, a coat check and be like, hey there, sexy lady?
Maybe
Here's
if that's
my-
your rapport, if it's the first time you've ever met them, I'd say, no, that's a no-go.
It's like I'm incredibly greasy, and I'm just going up there, and I'm just like, hello, sexy lady, how are you? Would you like to exchange digits? I've got
Let me
six digits.
write my digits on your forehead.
Yeah, why don't I put my digits somewhere that isn't to do with the phone? I'm a gigolo.
Perfect segue into talking about the 1980 neo-noir crime drama American Gigolo. Oh my gosh, Ryan, it's our first Schrader selection.
Yeah, Schrader-thon
It
has
is
commenced.
Schrader-thon. I am absolutely thrilled about it because over the last couple of years, Paul Schrader has become one of my favorite directors.
Yes. Well, I mean, I've been aware of Paul Schrader's movements for a very, very, very long time. As a filmmaker, though, yeah.
What do you
well,
mean? You put a tracker on him?
well, no, he's
Where is he right now?
Well, he's been involved in either writing or making some of my favorite films. In terms of like his filmography, we've only become more accustomed to it over the last kind of couple of years. I think it's another one of those pandemic like journeys that we've taken together, where we've looked at the filmography of Paul Schrader.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I remember when we first met, we went to, what was that store we used to go to and buy movies?
Fop.
FOP.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to go to FOP, and I remember trying to impress you because you'd never seen First Reformed.
No, I hadn't seen First Reformed.
So I bought it, and I'm like, oh, he's going to love this.
Well, by the time you met me, I was only going to the cinema to go see things that I thought were going to be good. I didn't go to the cinema in quantity.
And then you met me, and
then we just
I
went all
will
the time.
watch anything.
Well, here's the thing. Like, the first thing we went to go and see was the Halloween movie. What was it just called? Halloween,
That wasn't
right?
the first movie we went and saw together at the cinema. We went and saw Moon and A Trip to the Moon.
I took you to a matinee on a Sunday at the Cameo
That was lovely.
for like a date thing, and I took you out and treated you to some class.
Almost like Julian Kay, Richard Gere's character from American Gigolo. I was
Yeah.
treated like a real lady.
Yeah, I treated you like a real lady. I showed you a silent film with it was the terrible like Cannes Film Festival version of A Trip to the Moon
Yeah.
with the soundtrack by Air. It's awful. Absolutely fucking awful.
Yeah.
And then obviously Moon, the Duncan Jones movie. So,
Woo woo, Sam Rockwell.
yeah. But anyway, we're not doing that movie. There's no dicks in that movie.
Oh, let me just throw out who else is in this film before you tell me about Paul, even though I know about Paul. Because I love Paul.
Yeah, of course.
Lauren Hutton plays Michelle. Hector Elizondo plays Detective Sunday. And I was just telling you while we were watching the film that he always plays cops. He's always playing the police.
He's always playing an authoritarian figure.
Lieutenant, detective,
Because I'm
chief.
pretty sure he's like no, you know what else he's in? He's in
The Princess Diaries?
yeah, I think so. I'm
He-
trying to think
he
that
is.
other thing that he's in.
100%.
Where he's always in a state of authority, or he's a mentor.
You guys have probably seen American Gigolo, and if you haven't, obviously it's streaming.
Yeah.
Watch it, but you'll recognize this guy right off the bat. He has a very particular look, and he's great.
Well, that's not true, because I didn't recognize him straight
You
off the bat.
didn't?
No.
He's very young. I mean, this is 40 years old.
Yeah, he's got no facial hair.
Correct. He still has
He
the...
doesn't have a lot of hair, but
No, but
yeah.
he still has that gap in his tooth.
Oh, okay.
Not unlike Lauren Hutton.
No, no.
Gorgeous. And Bill Duke. Bill Duke is in this movie.
Yeah, this is pre-Predator, or pre-Predator.
Predator?
Yeah, this is pre-Predator.
Pre-predating.
Anytime.
Tell me about Paul. I want to hear, just fill my brain and my body with Paul Schrader.
So as we've already kind of pointed out, this is kind of like a Schrader-thon. We are going to be covering more than just this one movie. I would say that in chronological order, this is the first film that he has directed, and obviously making that kind of plain distinction. But this is the first film that he's directed that has any full frontal male nudity in it.
Yes.
So when I say I'm quite familiar with Paul Schrader, I'm more familiar with Paul Schrader certainly earlier on as the young scriptwriter from the 70s. That's what I remember.
Yeah, I think most people would recognize him from the things that he's written, and I agree with that.
He's a fantastic writer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'll just put that out there. He's a fantastic writer. But he writes and he directs his own stuff as well. So he's very much a kind of separate entity to the stuff that he's also penned. He's also a film critic as well. He's a very intelligent man. But kind of noted out there, let's just say, like, he was more well known in the 70s for writing and co-writing a bunch of stuff with Scorsese. So let's just say Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, The Last Temptation of Christ, and also Bringing Out the Dead. He's penned for Scorsese.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and they're all very good films. I think Taxi Driver is probably the most prominent one out of those four. And I remember with Raging Bull, Mardik Martin started the script. Raging Bull was a project that went on for quite a number of years. De Niro was reading Jake LaMotta's book, and they were like, Marty, this is something you should make. And I think Schrader comes in to clean the script up. And by clean the script up, he basically brings a really hard edge to it, basically. Basically what makes the film what it is now.
Yeah, I think he typically does that. I was reading how he started the script for Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and then Spielberg read it and he goes, ooh, this is a bit rough. This is a bit too intense.
Content-wise, his stuff can be a little bit edge, like a little bit on edge. But that's not to say that it's not interesting to watch. It's just a lot of the themes, a lot of things he concentrates on. I would say, like, a lot of his films focus on elements of the sex industry and the sex trade. That's definitely a thing that he's done.
Yeah, a lot of sex and drugs.
Yes, a lot of crime, a lot of violence, prison.
Loneliness.
Yes.
There's definitely a lonely man theme.
Yes, the lonely man theme, which we'll cover.
Yeah.
But, you know, let's look at his filmography. So
Woo-hoo!
he's directed 19 films, and he's been active since 1974. Now, in 1974, that's where he gets a co-writing credit with a film called The Yakuza that came out in 1974. But he did make two films in the 70s, which were Blue Collar and Hardcore in 1978, and then American Gigolo follows them up in 1980.
Yeah, I think, what was it? It was the success of him being able to write those films for Scorsese that gave him the opportunity to be able to direct his own and write his very own stuff, right?
Yeah, but he already had a hand in the film industry regardless, because he was a film critic. So, you know, obviously we're covering American Gigolo today. 1980 comes, that's effectively where we stop. We will be covering more Schrader stuff as we go along, so...
Schrader-thon.
In 82, we have Cat People. In 85, we have Mishima, Life in 4 Chapters. In 87, we have The Light of Day. Then there's The Comfort of Strangers, Light Sleeper, and then, obviously, the list goes on with Touch, Affliction, Forever Mine, Autofocus, Dominion, which was the Exorcist prequel. Never realized he directed that one.
I know. I've never seen it.
I might have done, but it's also part of a string of, like, exorcism films that they seem to be making and kind of pulling out of...
I love a good exorcism.
Yeah.
I think they're fun.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
I'm
news
just saying,
to me.
I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
Anything for Paul.
Yes. And continuing the list, there's The Walker, Adam Resurrected, Canyons, Dying of the Light, Dog Eat Dog, First Reformed, and then his last film that was released, although he is making something else just now, was The Card Counter with Jason Isaacs.
So
Not Jason Isaacs.
I hope everyone that... Wait.
That wasn't Jason Isaacs.
Oscar.
Oscar Isaacs. I make that mistake quite a lot. Yeah, be a different
Moon
film if
Knight.
it was. It'd be different if it was the Moon Knight. Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
fine. Yeah, Poe Dameron. Any other kind of roles that the man has taken that are completely inconsequential to the real roles that man has taken. Yeah.
We're going to talk about him too, but
Yeah.
it's very exciting, and I hope you wrote all of those films down because we will be talking about quite a few
Yes.
of those
did.
films.
Yes.
So
It's a mouthful. It's a mouthful.
Heyo.
But yeah, let's get into the movie.
So I have the synopsis from Letterboxd, and it's terrible.
Oh,
I genuinely hate it. I think that they could have done better, and I think that the synopsis for it on HBO Max, which is where we watched it today, I don't think we own that movie.
No.
We will.
No, we don't.
Don't worry. The synopsis from Letterboxd is, Julian makes a lucrative living as an escort to older women in the Los Angeles area. He begins a relationship with Michelle, a local politician's wife, without expecting any pay. One of his clients is murdered, and Detective Sunday begins pumping him for details on different clients, something he is reluctant to do considering the nature of his work. Meanwhile, Michelle begins to fall in love with him.
Is that's the Letterboxd?
That is Letterboxd. It could
It's a little bit long-winded.
No, I know, I said it was terrible.
Yeah, it's a little bit long-winded.
But we do the Letterboxd one, so I did the Letterboxd one. I didn't
Okay.
pick a different one.
No, the HBO one is better. It's only
It's
one
one
line.
sentence,
It's
yeah.
one sentence, which is male
Sexy
escort.
man Gere gets it on with hot older women.
Well, no, it's like
I'm just kidding.
yeah, it's like male escort gets embroiled in a murder plot, and he has to figure out who's trying to frame him, pretty much.
The tagline is better. You know, it's the tagline that you would see on the poster.
Okay.
Is, he's the highest paid lover in Beverly Hills. He leaves women feeling more alive than they've ever felt before. Except one.
Oh, that's clever. Yeah, yeah, I get that. I get that.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's not too bad. It's not
Yeah.
too bad. So it's it's a quintessential modern film noir. This is what American Gigolo is. And it's very much at the cusp of the 80s as well.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's got a really nice style to it. Looks amazing. A lot of strong primary colors. There's lovely pastels and stuff in the clothing and stuff that they wear. There's a real sense of style and design about the film, which I quite enjoy.
Yeah, a lot of his clothes are Armani, which I think that was like a big deal.
Yes.
All those Armani suits.
Yes.
So he looks good.
He has to look the part. Has to look the part.
He's a fancy man. He's got to dress like a fancy man.
Yes, and primarily the reason why he's an escort to older women is these older women are the ones with the money. That's the reason he's doing it.
Yeah, I guess he never exactly says that, but yeah, they're the ones they want to take him out. They want to get him dressed. They want to buy him nice things, you know?
It's something nice to have on your arm. But he also kind of points out during the course of the movie is that he can't relate to people who are younger. It's that he has an understanding of an older woman and what they want, that he's certain that he's able to provide. And by that he means he's able to get them to orgasm and they're relatively quite chuffed with themselves afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, he gives them so much as well. He's intelligent. He's an intelligent man. He's
multilingual.
He is 5 or 6 languages, he says.
Which is obviously to his own benefit, so that he
course.
can get more clients, because international clients is obviously the way to go.
Yeah, people traveling, and he can be their tour guide, as he says.
Yeah, he likes a bit of the crinkly.
Oh my god. Hey, women at all... Not... Okay, hold on. Adult women. Adult women need love, all right? It doesn't matter how old you are.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, you're an adult. Do you feel loved? But I'm not cracking stupid jokes.
You know, yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I think it's lovely. He takes care of these women.
Yeah.
They have a need. He's got it. Bada boom.
Yeah.
I'm ready to open this champagne, he says.
Yeah.
Pop the cork. baby.
Yeah,
He knows what he's doing.
He's able to spin a yarn in such a way that just kind of like draws the ladies in. I think that's kind of what he's got, the gift of the gab, and he's got a presence about him.
You know what that sixth language he knows?
What's that?
Language of love.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah, baby.
What does Michelle call it? Because she just kind of fly out says it.
International
language. Yeah.
She does.
Yeah.
She's amazing. I recognized her and I couldn't remember where from, and it was from that 1985 Jim Carrey movie, Once Bitten, where she plays a vampire. And I had such a thing for Jim Carrey when I was younger. He was my very first crush. It was ridiculous. I had a scrapbook and everything.
Well, he was your very first celebrity crush.
It was probably my very first crush in general.
You have to make the distinction between... Okay, well, you have to make the distinction between someone who is attainable.
Okay.
But also, how young were you when you had this crush?
When 91? So
gross.
When did Ace Ventura and all of those movies came out? Actually, it might have been before that. I genuinely was like very young.
It's probably like
because I used to watch In Living Color and I was obsessed with In Living Color. I've shown you it. It's got Fire Marshal Bill and Homie Don't Play That.
Right. Okay.
It's hilarious. Sketch comedy.
Okay, yeah.
With all the Wayans brothers.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Got you. Yeah, well...
The Fly Girls. I remember... Okay, this is such a tangent. I'm going to be quick.
American sketch comedy is like hit and miss for me. You know?
I'm working on it.
There's always like little bits and bobs, like, you know...
I think that's any sketch comedy. You've got some winners, you've got some losers. But I remember telling my mom when I was very little, I was probably 6 years old, and I said, Mom, I know what I want to be when I grow up. She said, what, dear? And I said, a fly girl. And she goes, well, that's a shame because that show's canceled. Crushing my dreams. Crushing my little girl dreams.
Yeah.
I can't dance like a fly girl.
I mean, I'd also be like, that's silly. That was like,
Why?
I remember getting sat down by my dad and his wife at the time. Like, he was like, you need to get this illusion out of your head. You want to make films? Who do you think you are, Spielberg? He said.
Yeah, but it never changed your trajectory in your life. Actually, to be fair, I did take hip hop classes when I was in middle school.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I just kind of like studied and did it all. But like at the end of the day, like, well, I don't know. Maybe it didn't change my trajectory. I could probably deal with it due to the mental health implications that it probably garnered, but at the same time, yeah, sometimes a little bit of real life kicks you into gear.
It
Richard
didn't.
Gere.
I still was real. There you go. That's fine.
Going back to American Gigolo, this film's really cool.
This film opens with a title track from Blondie that she wrote for this film.
Yeah,
and that song has been played out for the last 40 years. You hear Call Me.
Yeah, it's Calling Me.
You hear Call Me all the time on the radio, and it's...
Call on Me? Did I just say Call on Me?
I think you did. I was trying to just bypass that and just call me.
Because that's aha, isn't it? Call on Me.
Take on Me.
Take on Me. I'm on fire today.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Giorgio Moroder does the score, but I think he just tinkers around with Blondie's song. But there's also cool tones, the synth. Oh, baby. It is so solid. Even when the movie before it's black screen, American Gigolo, and the titles are coming up, like the music is just banging. Right off the bat, I'm like,
yeah, it's a really
gets me
good.
Excited.
Yeah, it's a really good, solid 80s soundtrack. It's not a Wang Chung,
but it's a fantastic score, and it made me like Call Me by Blondie again a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I think it fits in the film. Because that whole opening sequence is just him going from place to place to place. We're not really 100% sure what it is. I mean, we already know it's about a gigolo.
He's dressed well. He has an incredible car. He's got cool sunglasses. His beautiful wavy 70s hair is blowing in the wind. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. And I think one of the most prominent things about this, and at least like that I saw in the opening title sequence, is that it's produced by Jerry Bruckheimer and Freddie Fields, of all people. I did not expect that.
Do you want to know something interesting?
Do I ever?
Jerry Bruckheimer is still super into this concept, and they are in the process of making a series, an American Gigolo series for Showtime, like right now.
Huh. Okay.
It is weird.
Yeah.
It is really, really weird. I was not expecting to find out that information. I mean, who knows? It says it's in production.
I don't know if it's something that fits in with the present day. You know what I mean?
Filming began last year in 2021, in July. They commissioned 10 episodes. John Bernthal from Walking Dead, Punisher,
Yeah.
is meant to play Julian Kay.
Okay.
Okay, indeed.
Yeah.
Do you want to know who's
He's
meant to
scary.
play?
Like, he is scary. Like, how is that endearing?
I think he can turn sweet.
You saw him in Wolf of Wall Street, like I mean,
yeah,
he's like
I saw him at a convention once,
he's
and he
ready
has,
to knock cunts out, like at any given moment. Like he's just ready to punch something.
I saw him at a convention once at the bar, and he had a bunch of dogs with him, and I can't remember what kind of dogs. They might have been pit bulls, which makes me like him a little bit more.
Okay,
but he was really nice. He's
sure,
like a chill bro.
I'm sure he is. It's just
I think he could play. I don't know who can do a Richard Gere.
What now? Charlie Hunnam. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Chris Hemsworth. Robert Downey Jr.
Oh my god.
Jude Law. Then just get him back doing Alfie.
He's too old.
All right. Well, who's young?
Who's a young, hot upstart?
Timothée Chalamet. Put him in fucking everything, because they already are, and
my God.
everyone's Chalamet out.
You know who could have done it before all of the cannibal accusations is Armie Hammer.
Yeah.
I think Armie Hammer could have done it really well.
Yeah, but then you'd immediately go into the series like, yeah, he murdered someone. You know what I mean? Like that's why he wasn't in that movie Fresh. They had to get Sebastian Stan to do it, because he's immediately off the bat you'd be like, no, he's chewing on like some poor girl's leg. You know what I mean?
Could old Seb Stan do it, you think?
I mean, maybe. He seems to be hot right now. They're putting him in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I don't care.
I kind of feel like American Gigolo lives and dies like in this movie, to be fair.
It lives and dies in the smoke in the 70s.
It's not a lot of smoke.
There should be more smoke.
There's not really a lot.
There's
not really a ton of 70s in this either. It's just at the cusp at the end of the 70s.
It's just Richard Gere's hair that survives from the 70s.
Pretty much. I mean, there's a poster for the Warriors in this movie. So
yeah, there is.
You know, like it's like all spray painted out, and they're trying to say we've moved into another decade. We need to forget about the Warriors. Walter Hill's the Warriors. The 70s are over.
I really do think that, and I never really cared for Richard Gere. I'm not saying that I disliked him at all, but I do think that the Richard Gere from American Gigolo is one of my favorites.
Well, I would say this is like the beginnings of him like genuinely about to blow up as an actor.
Yeah.
Because before then he was in is it Days of Heaven?
The Malick, right?
The Terrence Malick movie. Mm-hmm. So I remember him in that, and I can't remember when Kurosawa's Dreams came out.
Right.
He's also in Dreams. So
gosh, I feel like that's also around 80, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's in Dreams. It's either Dreams or Rhapsody in August. I'm not 100% sure. I keep on mixing up those late era Kurosawa movies. Okay. But either way, like, I mean, this is Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman's coming. I mean, either way, like, how big was Richard Gere? You know, gerbils or not. You know what I mean?
Oh my
like,
Jesus.
You know what I mean? Like,
how dare you?
I mean, it was they put it in the papers. But
wow.
Yeah, like this is the beginnings of him blowing up, and I mean I think this is a good role for him, and this certainly puts Schrader on the map as well. You know, this film's massively successful.
Yeah, $5 million budget. It made $52.7 million at the box office.
Yeah,
that is a slam dunk.
Okay.
I do love that this is a film that gets where you kind of get a bit of the female gaze, a bit where you get to objectify men, and by men I mean Richard Gere. You know,
Well, I mean, yeah, we are focused on the male prostitute aspect as opposed to the female prostitute aspect.
He's
He
always
gets that later with Pretty Woman, obviously. We get that later.
Well, this is different. This is definitely more of an objectification because not only are we as an audience objectifying him, he as the character is objectifying himself.
Yeah.
Super narcissistic, always the best dressed, always the best groomed.
Yeah.
He checks himself in windows as he walks by. He makes sure that he's always dressed to the nines. There's that incredible montage of him putting all of his suits together, picking the perfect shirt, picking the perfect tie, dancing and singing. Like how often do you get that with a man in a film?
Not often.
I suppose.
Like
the
70s is a period where like your Clark Gables and your Cary Grants and stuff are like swept to the side, so you can get a little bit more of a realistic portrayal of a man in a movie, which means exposing a lot of the flaws.
Yeah, fair enough.
And this is kind of a nice balance of the two, where your hero is a very flawed present individual.
Oh yeah, I mean he's got tons of issues. I mean,
Yeah.
but he does go into the category of being a lonely man. When you look at his life, he has no love. He has no actual friends. The friends that he thought he had leave him the moment that they don't profit from him anymore.
Yeah.
They're not real friends.
Well, they're his pimps, effectively.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's happening there.
He's building a life based on material things.
Yeah.
And always keeping love at a distance because in terms of sex and women, they are his job, his career. So why would you intermingle those things? I think he's so deep into the fact that he is a gigolo and that he is man for hire that he can't even imagine or disconnect from that to allow love to come in.
Yeah.
He's so business.
Yeah.
Always business forward.
Yes.
So.
Aye.
He's good at his job, though.
He seemingly does make quite a fair amount of money doing it. But then obviously when Michelle comes in just on the basis of just like she's desperate to find out how he fucks.
And she never says anything other than that. She goes,
No.
I want to know what it's like to fuck you.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of obscene.
Well, here's the thing, like, the circles that he runs in, she's, like, Michelle is the wife to a senator who's on the campaign trail. And within the circles that they run in, obviously his campaign donors are mostly the women who are his clients, effectively, right? And within the circles, they're just like, what he does, right? You know why he's here.
It's a very unspoken but very obvious thing.
Yeah, they
that
know.
He's doing.
Yeah, they know he's arm candy and he's a paid escort. You know, so for that reason, they have zero respect for him when he's in these high class situations. These country clubs and stuff.
Like who doesn't respect him?
Because he's not
like other ladies?
Well, the thing is, the way that I saw it, and certainly the way that the male characters talk to him, certainly the senator, when we do speak to him eventually, is that the way that Richard Gere's character makes his money is not a true and honest living. That's what the senator is affecting.
Well,
but the thing is obviously that's juxtaposed against the fact that he's a senator within politics. It's all pandering, it's all mouth service.
Well, he's also mouth servicing his wife.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I kind of considered that the biggest reason why he didn't like him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she takes a liking to him purely on the basis that he's good in bed.
Yeah, that's it. She tracks him down, and it is incredibly easy for her to find this man who seems to, in his profession, it seems that he would want to cover his tracks and keep his whereabouts hidden. He told her, she shows up at his apartment. He says, I don't bring women here. She expected it to be fluffy red carpet and a round rotating bed and all this. And he just says to her, I don't bring women here. But the fact that she could find his name, probably through the connections around town.
Yeah.
He's quite the high-paid translator escort.
The men in the lives of the women who are clients to Richard Gere all know exactly who he is and what he's doing. But this all kind of changes when it seems like these men conspire against him and they try and frame him for murder. And that scene where he goes to that house and basically it's the conceived notion is that the husband's going to be cucked and watch Richard Gere have his way with his wife.
That is a wild scene.
Yeah.
So you have his like other pimp. What was his name? Leon.
Yeah, that's Bill Duke.
And he says, "Can you sub in? Can you sub in tonight? There's just a situation. I got this lady out in Palm Springs." But when he gets there, he realizes that, he says he doesn't do gay stuff. That's kind of all he says. Of course, he says it in a more terrible way.
Yeah, he says it in the 80s way. They use the F word.
Yeah. Not cool. But, he says that he doesn't do guys. And
it's either...
even though there is a massive,
it's an elongated version of what you'd probably call a cigarette in the UK and those little rolled up balls of meat. That's what he refers to.
But there's a huge homosexual undertone, not even necessarily an undertone to the whole film.
Well, Bill Duke runs a club called Probe, which is effectively just a gay club.
Oh my god. I loved it so much.
It's just a gay Leatherman hangout, pretty much. God.
I want to talk about that for 15 hours, but I want to get back to that later.
Yeah.
I loved that scene so much. But when Richard Gere Julian shows up to this appointment, there's a guy there. Again, he says, I don't do men. And he goes, "Oh no, it's just my wife. But I can watch, right?" Yeah, of course. But then it just goes south immediately.
Yeah, he probably should have got out there when he noticed there was cactus like behind glass.
Hey,
for
it's
whatever
Palm
reason.
Springs, baby.
Is it? But I mean, that was in the bedroom. That was in the hallway of the bedroom. It was one of those
cool modern houses where, not unlike the Color of Night house, you've got kind of weird windows and stuff.
Yeah.
And they probably just have that strange, almost cloudy type window.
Yeah, well,
it's cacti outside.
It's like the sort of windows you have in a bathroom, so people can't see you naked.
Yeah.
But they can see a shape, like a blobby, flesh-colored shape, like on the other side of the window. But there's like cactus, like a self-contained little cactus garden, like in the hallway.
I guess that's all you can grow in Palm Springs.
Yeah, well, this is also LA, so everything's Art Deco. It's deco as fuck, pretty much.
I love it.
Like there's circles and squares everywhere, like and there's no reason for it.
I genuinely don't hate that. Maybe it's coming back.
Is it?
I dig it.
Well, I mean, this movie's from 1980, so
it's time for a resurgence.
How many years? This is 42 years
42
now?
years.
Yeah, so...
Holy moly. I want a lot of black and white tiles.
Yeah, I want a window that doesn't look like it can open because it just looks like a small arch.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the sort of window you'd get in a medieval castle. That's what I want.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you can't seal it properly and it gets really wet and damp and then it just flies off when there's a bit of wind. Yeah, love it.
This husband is trying to conduct this sexual situation between Richard Gere and then this man's wife.
He's directing him, basically.
Is so creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, it is tense from the moment he walks in the door. It is Creep City. Definitely not going to repeat some of those phrases that comes out of that man's mouth, but
no, we don't need to. But basically what we're kind of shown though is like this is the darker side to what Richard Gere's doing, because before then we're kind of seeing he's fraternizing with these older women, and he's like opening their bottles of champagne, and then he's probably showing them a good time in the bedroom, and then he just kind of leaves and he talks to them on the phone, and he's like, he's sozzing them up that way, and he's kind of keeping them all interested in things. This is where it basically is like, I've paid you to have sex with my wife, and I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to say obscene things while you're doing it.
Yeah. I want to get cucked.
But this is obviously the turning point. This is where he goes against the grain. starts to do something that he doesn't want to do, and then obviously it comes to kick back later when they find out that this woman has been murdered.
It certainly seems like this type of behavior and this type of job he's done in the past, and he feels as though he's above it now. So he's done the kink, and he's done the, I don't know what he called it, but the rough and the kink. He doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure that he did it on his way up to where he is now, where he has these lovely older women who pay him tons of money, and he might not even have to have sex with them.
Probably not, like if he shows them a good time.
Yeah, they probably just want a companion, someone to go shopping with, someone to have fun with.
Yeah, well, an older woman's less likely to want to be, like, donkey punched or something, probably. You know what I mean?
No one wants to be donkey punched. God.
Unless these people pay for it. I don't know. Look, I'm just putting things out there.
He won't do that, though. He won't do that because he doesn't do the roughy kinky.
It's not real. You shouldn't punch people in the back of the head while you're trying to have sex with them. It really dulls the mood a bit.
It really dampens the mood.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Did you notice how many Venetian blinds are in this movie?
Not enough.
I mean, there is so much horizontal lines in this movie. It's insane. It's
Love
crazy.
It.
And this kind of leads us into our dick scene.
Yay!
So basically, if you've seen the cover of the DVD or the movie poster to American Gigolo, it's pretty much the dick scene, except he's stark bollock naked.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's after he decides that he should indeed, for free, have sex with Michelle. So after she comes to his house and basically begs him to show her his wiener at a good time.
Yeah, there's this strange, like, performative sex scene, which is kind of just a lot of close-ups of shapes and forms, and you kind of like, how are they lying in that position? Like, so her leg's up, his arms around his leg. You're like, how is that?
And it's very bright.
Yeah. Is that what, like, real, like, is that the difference between, say...
Is that what real sex looks like?
Well, like, having sex, right? Which can be, be very mechanical and animalistic, obviously, to a certain degree. Or is
like this... Like A Color of Night.
Yeah, or is this, like, love? Is that what that is? Like, is that, like, it's like... Let's see what sort of shapes we can get into, because I love you so much. Like, how can I get your knee touching my chin, and then can we just, like, can I kiss your tailbone area?
Is this when, a couple that have been together for a really long time just rents out the Kama Sutra from the library and just flips to a page?
Maybe, I don't know.
And just goes, this one tonight, honey.
Yeah. Or, like, you're just, like, you're just above a man, and then the man slowly brings his hands to cup your breasts.
The weird pan tilt that they do with the camera.
And she's just like staring him down.
Just smiling down at him while he's just lightly touching her breasts.
It's very strange. Very weird. And I didn't hate it. That's the thing. Like, I was like, oh, right. And it's all against, like, this pastel blue.
Yep.
And it looks really nice. All the bed sheets are pastel blue, and it looks very nice. But you're kind of just like...
It's also...
There's some choices that are made where you're kind of,
It's kind of gross for me to say that it was very dry. But you have sex scenes, that are typically around this time... I'm bringing A Color of Night specifically. I know that's a later film, but that's a very wet. Every time they have sex, it's a very wet.
Well, that's a quintessential,
sweaty.
Yeah, that's quintessential of the 80s, though. Like that sex scene kind of
opposite
comes to be.
This is very
sensual, and and calm.
It is deliberate and dry.
Right, I would say so. Yeah.
And I'm just meaning by their skin is very, they're not sweaty. They're not huffing and puffing.
Yeah.
They're just enjoying each other's company.
Yeah.
So
they're romancing each other's organs.
Indeed.
Yeah. It's just like, that's lovely. I love you so much. This is amazing.
I mean, she fell in love with him. Bada boom.
Almost
right
immediately.
There.
Yeah.
Right there. So.
I'd be like, I'd be more kind of like, look, either put a Jimmy hat on or get a test, because I'm not sure about this.
No.
You know what I mean? I'm like, That's not to say that I don't trust the women that you've been with, because obviously they're paying you a lot of money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, what if you've got gonorrhea?
There was certainly no conversations about any sort of protection in this film.
No, this film
Takes away the romance, maybe?
this film's not explicit.
No.
No. The thing is like the glimpses that we get
for the premise of the film.
For the premise of the
could
film, it's
be
very
gratuitous.
Yeah, but the thing is like I feel like with the Jerry and the Freddie inclusion in the producer stuff, this film is meant to be mass marketable. But the lack of explicit content isn't missed at all.
No, it works as it is. You still get some boobs. You get butts.
And you get a big dick.
You get a dick.
So here we are. We're at the dick scene.
39 minutes, 47 seconds
Yes.
into the film. You get a charismatically reminiscent Richard Gere staring out his full-length window. Is it full-length?
The Venetian blinds is massive. Yeah, it's huge.
Big old window.
But he's living in like an apartment complex, but it's like a very expensive apartment complex.
Yes.
Like they have like room service and all sorts of things kind of going on at this place.
It's a hotel and apartment.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, it looks expensive. And he's either just moved in because he seems to be constantly changing the decor.
Well, it's because he keeps making money, baby. You gotta upgrade.
So many vases. That's the thing. Like loads and loads of vases.
Man, how many do we have?
2?
1?
Yeah, well, I mean, you keep buying plants. Like, that's more the issue. Obviously, the sex scene has preceded this. We're now into the dick scene. He wakes up with her. This is the scene? Is he on the phone and she wakes up? And he's talking to one of the clients and he's saying how hard he is? Or is that a different moment?
I'm struggling to remember. I know that happened.
Yeah. So either way, that happens at one point, but it's not really important to the scene itself.
No.
But pretty much they wake up together and she starts like talking to him what it's like with these older women, and he goes into this monologue about how it is. So he basically gets out of bed, he walks towards the window.
Yep.
And he's stark bollock naked. So we see his ass first, and then it kind of ends in this wide, and he's kind of proclamating kind of how he makes these women feel and how he understands them and how he's able to make them feel better about themselves and take them to places they never felt they could ever get to. And he talks about this woman who, you know, seemingly had not had an orgasm in like 18 years, and he's like, oh, I was working her for like 3 hours. Didn't think it would happen, but he's like
so proud of himself.
Really proud of himself, you know?
He's
like,
a narcissist.
I mean, sex is his artistry, it seems to be, you know?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it looks really nice.
The vagina is his canvas.
Pretty much. I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
It's something, all right.
And his wiener is his paintbrush.
Yes, and you see it, all of it.
You see it, and I feel like when I'd watched this film before, I don't feel as though you see it as well as you do, but you do, and it comes back a couple of times in a couple of shots.
Yeah, it does.
So it cuts back and forth, and he's just wax poetic out this window about his conquests, and it's just naked. I think it's fantastic. This was not in the script. This was Richard Gere's idea, by the way.
Huh, okay.
It was not written in. This was not Schrader's idea. It wasn't anybody's idea. He just said it made sense, wasn't in the script, and I just did it.
That's weird, because usually Paul Schrader doesn't like people going off script. Like at all.
I don't think it was an off-script type of thing. I think maybe he just was okay with it. And as we know about Paul Schrader now, Paul Schrader is down with that type of thing. He doesn't shy away from full-frontal male nudity in his films.
No.
And so if you have an actor, especially an American actor, that's super rare to have someone super comfortable with their body.
Yeah.
And able and willing to go out there and with no shame. But that's also his character. So it makes sense for his character. He's not ashamed of his body. He takes a lot of time to make sure it looks perfect.
Yeah, he does that upside down thing.
He does this upside down.
I'd never seen this film all the way through, but I had seen that bit where he's learning Swedish whilst he's also doing these exercises and he's hanging upside down.
Like very American Psycho.
Or Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that it? Or I think Michael Keaton does that in one of the Batman.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he hangs up upside down because he couldn't sleep in bed, I think that happens.
Because he's that bat.
Because he loves the bat so much, because he's crazy.
But then he's also afraid of bats, so it's...
Yeah, he's got mental health problems. You know, he dresses up as a bat and he goes out and fights crime. So obviously there's slightly big issues there. But I quite like this scene, and I quite like this is like the first stage of Paul Schrader is what we're seeing here. You know, like this is the kind of first few steps of it. But once we get into like the late 90s and we're obviously into the 2000s, that's where we see the second age of Paul Schrader.
Yeah.
Where everything's a little bit crazier, a little bit more wild, a little bit more experimental. But I quite like what this film does quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, and from what I was reading, there was a couple instances where I read that this was the first time that a major Hollywood actor was frontally nude in a film. So, I mean, like a big deal.
I would say a big draw of the box office is probably from this scene alone.
Just the fact that Richard Gere is playing a gigolo.
Probably, yeah. I mean, the fact that it's called American Gigolo, yeah.
For Dickie Gere.
Yeah. Well, like I say,
I think they still are, for crying out loud. People love him.
Yeah. I would say so. He's probably not. He's not at his best now, but no one is really. You know.
Speak for yourself. Come on.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
I'm fucking
We're both beautiful.
terrible. No, I'm fucking awful. Yeah, I've got to grow a mustache in order to hide the fact that I'm a fat fuck.
I love the mustache. Richard Gere goes to the Mustache Party nightclub.
It was just a mustache party. Everyone had a mustache. It was just Bill Duke and Richard Gere didn't have mustaches. Everybody else had a mustache.
Yeah.
In that scene.
So this is when the film turns from kind of this superficial display, you know, of sex and vanity and drugs into this kind of like classic crime noir.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of have the switch flipped when no longer is this about all these lovely women and all the boning and all the champagne popping. This is about, oh no, my life is in danger because the woman that I cucked, you know, that the cucking situation where I had to slap this guy's wife around for money has come back to bite him in the ass because she was murdered.
Yes, and he says he didn't do it.
Oops.
And for the most part, he didn't. And not to spoil anything, there's a lot of stuff that happens, and you kind of find out the level of collusion, and people start to tear away from Richard Gere because of the accusations made against him. But
fair enough, he needs an alibi, and what's he going to do? I mean, the people that he was with are high up in society, and they're also people that are philandering.
They're also bankrolling his life.
For real. So yeah, he doesn't want to mess around with that, but he also needs to not be put in prison wrongly for murder.
No, that would also help his cause, is to not go to prison, so he can continue making money and making love to the ladies. But
not be in prison.
No, well, I mean, I guess because the film takes this turn, and it's maybe a little bit too long. Kind of 15 minutes probably could have been cut out of this kind of meandering, wandering around, being followed, trying to figure things out for yourself, sort of stuff. But everything kind of comes to a head. Things start to happen, and we're not going to spoil it for you. You should watch it yourselves because that's kind of the way it is. And plus, we don't really have anything to kind of add after that. It's like a good windy tale. It looks great. Really good, solid, like, film noir fare.
I love when he starts kind of descending into the drama because his life is falling apart.
Yeah.
And he keeps going into certain places, and everyone's telling him he looks like shit. He still looks great. He's got like barely a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, pretty much.
Barely.
Yeah.
He's just looking more rugged.
I've been sleeping in my car and smoking more than 2 cigarettes a day. I look rough. Well, he goes to his madam and stuff, looking for help, and she's like, "Go fuck yourself." And he's like,
because he doesn't have any friends.
I'm your number one boy.
Oh yeah. Not anymore, baby.
Yeah. Well, Michelle makes the point later on as well, as kind of like, this is what kind of changes the distinction between whether they like each other or love each other, is that she says to him is like, when you make love, you go to work. So like he finds it very difficult to make the distinction between what's work and what's actual love. Like he can't separate the sex and the relationship from what he does as a professional gigolo.
That she's the only person left in his life at the end of this film, and it makes sense because she's only ever actually loved him, you know, and risks everything that she has to save him.
Yeah,
you know, and he could never really actually open himself up.
No.
So, but he's lost everything.
Yeah.
You know, he's lost everything that ever meant anything to him, which is essentially nothing, because it's all materialistic. He never had anything real.
No.
Until she came into his life, and then he realized, you know.
He really liked his stereo.
He did.
He did really like his
stereo.
Yeah, and he fucking destroyed it. Because he begins
Because then he starts to realize that this stereo isn't as important as my life.
Yes. Yes.
You know? Like, it ends in a little bit melancholic, but it's also kind of sweet, you know? It's a bit tragic.
Yeah, you never get the full end result of the story. It just kind of ends on the most positive note that the film can, effectively.
You know, I can forgive it. I can forgive it seems like kind of weird mishmash at the end, a lot of cuts, really short scenes and fades. It's a little weird.
It kind of takes you out of it a wee bit.
We have to see what happens here, fade. Okay, we have to see what happens here, cut, fade, and then we see what happens here, and it's just a little bit redundant just to get to the point. Yeah. But I forgive it because, all in all, it's not a bad way to spend 2 hours. There's this one part when he goes to see his lady pimp, and when he's all disheveled. Mm-hmm. And he asks for a straight bourbon, which is when you know that things are going downhill for him, because he originally, when he was all super fancy, ordered a Manhattan.
Yes, he likes a Manhattan.
And then he just orders a straight bourbon. But they did the thing that is my pet peeve at a bar. I love ordering just a neat bourbon. A bourbon neat at a bar.
Yeah. Because
it's just a nice drink. Put it in a cup, for crying out loud. They give him that straight bourbon in a shot glass.
Yeah, give it in a nice, decent glass, a nice big glass.
It's a sipping whiskey. Obviously, he's at a nice cocktail bar.
Yeah.
He's not, you know, at the local.
Well, the thing is, before he goes in, they're just like, "Look, Julian, you can't come in looking like that. You look like shit.
You need a jacket." He goes, "No.
I don't need a jacket."
They were going to give him a jacket, too.
I smoked 4 cigarettes before coming in here.
I never smoked cigarettes before. I only snort cocaine.
My life is on the line. I want the bourbon.
I can't afford cocaine. I can only afford cigarettes and bourbon.
I wish my old ladies want to fuck me again. I want to fuck me.
It's so sad.
Here's your shot glass of bourbon. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and maybe that's why. Maybe they're like, just hurry up.
Just get out of here.
We don't want to give you a sipping glass. Yeah. Just have some wild turkey and get the fuck out of here.
Get out of here. Here's a
filth.
Here it is. You're fucking Jameson. Get the fuck out.
Disgusting.
I like Jameson.
I know. I also like wild turkeys. Mm-hmm. I don't have anything else about the movie, but I do have fun things to talk about.
No.
Did you know that John Travolta originally was going to play Julian?
Okay.
Not the first time that Richard Gere has taken a role over from John Travolta. Okay. It's happened in Days of Heaven, first of all. Mm-hmm. An Officer and a Gentleman.
Okay.
This film. Mm-hmm. And Chicago. Were all films that Richard Gere took over when John Travolta didn't want to do it.
Huh, okay.
Yeah.
When John Travolta didn't want to do it.
Or when John Travolta got cold feet, or they offered it to John Travolta and he said, "Nah, thanks."
John Travolta got cold feet. I feel like you have to take
that's
back
what they
that
said.
statement. When does that man ever had cold feet?
That is what I read.
Okay.
Is that John Travolta got cold feet about this film, and then he went and did Urban Cowboy.
Yeah.
Which
it's
is
not bad.
Trash. Oh, yeah.
I thought the film was okay, is it
I
not?
didn't like it.
Urban Cowboy.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm mixing it. Well, there's a few films that have like Midnight Cowboy is obviously good. That's the John Voight movie.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman.
And Drugstore Cowboy. I think I'm mixing it up with that one. The Matt
With
Dillon
Matt
movie.
Dillon, yeah.
Yeah, Matt Dillon one. I think I'm mixing it up. No, maybe Urban Cowboy isn't any good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't know cowboys.
That's for another podcast.
Yeah, that's for another one.
Another few people that were offered to play Julian Kay were Christopher Reeve was actually one of the first choices, and they were going to offer him $1 million to play that role.
Holy shit.
Chevy Chase turned it down. Also considered, are you ready?
Fucking Fletch could have been in the American Gigolo.
Yes,
Are you joking
could.
me?
Are you ready? I've got more.
I fucking would have been weird as fuck.
Mel Gibson.
Not terrible.
Harrison Ford.
Not terrible at all.
I know, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Also, Richard Gere is great, but Sylvester Stallone.
Oh,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
wow. Think about those two trying to do the fucking multilingual like dialogue in that movie.
Imagine that sex scene where you've got the lady and then you got like Arnold's hands, just gigantic arms groping at her boobies.
It's like Arnold, your hands are too big. Like you look like you're gonna kill her.
And honestly, the funny thing about
I'm just showing you my love.
Is that Paul Schrader did not want Richard Gere for this movie.
Okay.
So much so that he called Richard Gere's agent and said, "Don't let him read this script." So he knew he was going to like it. He goes, "Don't read the script." There was someone at Paramount who offered it to Richard Gere.
Okay.
He was pissed.
I mean, it's a role that's now become synonymous with Richard Gere. Like it's one of those roles. You know what I mean? Like it's like
quintessential.
It's a quintessential Gere role.
Absolutely. Richard Gere said kind of recently that he liked it because of the gay subtext. He said.
Okay.
The
gay subtext.
And I know it's not even subtext. I don't think.
No.
I quote, "There's kind of a gay thing that's flirting through it, and I didn't know the gay community at all. I wanted to immerse myself in all of that, and I had literally 2 weeks, so I just dove in."
All right, well, good for him for saying that. It's a weird statement to make. It's kind of like, because here's the thing, like, there's a diplomatic way of making an answer like that where it's just like, I loved the dramatic elements of the script. I loved where the story was going. I loved where my character was going, as opposed to I love the gay
gays.
stuff.
Yeah.
Which is all good and fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it. But as far as I'm aware, like Richard Gere's a heterosexual.
Hey, there is a sexual spectrum, and I don't know where he lies on that spectrum.
Who knows? It doesn't really matter. I find
you wanted to know more.
I find that statement just very honest in a kind of,
it's very innocent,
very kind of naive way.
Yeah, I agree.
It's kind of just like
there's a couple of people who auditioned for or were considered for the part of Michelle. Originally, Julie Christie was meant to play Michelle, but she dropped out when Travolta was replaced by Richard Gere.
Yeah.
Meryl Streep was offered the part, but did not like the tone of the film.
I don't think she would have worked anyway.
Glenn Close auditioned, but they didn't want her.
Glenn Close brings a bit more of a classical flavor, I feel like, and Meryl Streep also does as well. They also have a habit of chewing up the scenery and making it all about themselves.
Baby. God, I love Glenn Close.
Yeah, at least like what they do with, who did they cast?
Lauren Hutton is amazing.
She's
so delicate.
She looks really good. That's the thing. She looks really, really good, and she kind of struts around. It's kind of like who was the girl who played in To Live and Die in L.A. She had a very kind of similar flavor. Darlene Flugel.
Oh right.
Yeah, she has a very, very similar flavor to what.
It just fits. It just fits really well. And you can't really see anyone else doing that role. And although we do love Richard Gere, seeing someone like Harrison Ford playing that role, I think would also fit in well.
Well,
I think Harrison Ford's got a little bit more of a smarm to him, a little bit more smarmy.
Harrison Ford can be a little bit cheeky.
Yeah.
But then let's have a wee think. Like by 1980, what's Harrison Ford doing? I mean, isn't 1980 Raiders? Raiders comes out in 1980. So
I mean, he's a hot ticket. He's a hot ticket
Yeah.
around this point, and Richard Gere is less so.
the thing is, like Harrison Ford gets his time doing these, these sexy thrillers,
Yeah, he does.
And also Schrader wrote the Mosquito Coast, which is that Peter.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, with Harrison Ford. I think that's Peter Weir with Harrison Ford.
Oh, hot dog.
So there is a connection there. I'm glad I was able to get that one out for whatever reason.
There you go.
There you go. Anything else you want to add before we wrap this sucker up?
No, why don't you give me your ratings? Why don't you start off with your I feel like I go back and forth all the time whether or not I want to do separate visibility and context. I'm going to do one rating for visibility and context today, and you can do the same if you want,
Okay.
or you can separate them. I don't know if you separated them.
I'm not going to separate them.
Good, let's just do it. We might just go back. I don't know. We're trying things out.
I gave it a straight 4.
Oh my god, we're twins.
Wow.
I
look
did
at
the
that.
same.
It's like we're on the same wavelength. We're on the
Yeah.
same schedule. We're
on
like
the same-
synced up and shit.
So we've got 4 stars for your visibility and context.
Yeah.
And how about the film? What's your overall film rating?
Well, I gave it 4.5. I quite like this.
Yes.
But I'm partial to like a colorized film noir, modern film noir story. I wouldn't mind making a list of like the modern film noirs and stuff to maybe watch a little bit more of.
Body Heat.
There's a ton, absolute shit ton, all the way up to like Bound and like Red Rock West and that one movie with all the Elvis Presleys in it with Courtney Cox, I think's in that movie. I'm not too sure. There's a lot. There's a ton.
4.5.
Okay, good.
We're in the twins club. I don't know.
We're in the twins club. Okay, everything was the same because you never said. You just kind of.
I got too excited because I knew
Yeah.
I did the same. Sorry. Again, but thank you. Thank you so much.
I know. Well, the thing is, the podcast doesn't exist without me. You keep on telling me this.
Well, it's always nice for
So-
you to be here and show up. It's nice to spend time with you. It's nice to be here together
Yeah.
and do the thing that we love to do the most, which is talk about movies.
Yes. I mean, I don't know if this is the thing I love the most.
Is the thing I love the most.
Okay, well then I'm just along for the ride.
Wow. We're going to have talk about this off mic. It's
Yeah.
hurting my feelings.
Okay. Just close this up.
Coming to you from the Probe nightclub, I have been Laura.
We all know why it's called Probe. You know what I mean?
I know.
Probing like bum cheeks.
butts.
Yeah, butts.
Wieners and butts.
I got a probe in my pants. Why don't you? Why do you
Is that
expose
a
the
probe in your pants? Or you just have
Yeah.
me see me, and it says, and he goes, it's both.
Yeah, it's a close encounter of the third kind. It's just kind of probing, getting you probed.
Probing butts.
Well, supposedly, like, there's different levels of close encounters. So close encounters of the third kind is when you see an alien. And then there's, like, close encounter of, like, the sixth kind, and that's when you fuck an alien.
What?
Yeah, there's all these different levels. Again, that's maybe a different thing. But yeah, I think it's like close encounter of the sixth kind is like when you are probed by the alien.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I am upset. Why do you know this?
Because
What were you looking up?
here's the thing.
Is this why you're always deleting your search history?
No, here's the thing. Wow. Here's the thing. Like, the reason why I know these things is I'm a keeper of weird and strange facts. The same as if I would say to you is like, do you know that sharks have 2 dicks?
Yeah, you told me that on our first date.
Yeah, it's because they have. I know, but I say that like I like saying that piece of knowledge, like dropping that knowledge down because it gets you thinking about certain things, you know, sexy things, because it's like dicks and sharks, but it's because they have such rough sex over the course of their lifetime. Sharks can live for like hundreds of years. Is that eventually they will lose one over the course of it. So yeah, there you go. That's it. I'm checking to make sure that I'm correct. Yeah, there's third, there's fourth, there's fifth.
You guys can do that research on your own time.
Yeah, no,
honestly,
you can get yourselves all.
And then delete your search history.
Yeah, no, like, just don't be banging any aliens, and I mean the ones from space.
Close it out. You have to sign off. We gotta get out of here. I'm hungry.
I'm done. Oh shit, I'm done. I'm finished.
You're Ryan?
I finished all my notes. I'm Ryan.
Bye, guys. Please wear protection out there. So terrified.
Well, it's like that super strain of gonorrhea they found in like Middle Europe that couldn't be cured with like antibiotics, and everyone was terrified. It was really funny.
Be safe.